Hi, Sally. Oh, okay. All
All
right.
right.
We got people
The
coming.
party's starting.
You okay? What am I doing?
I'm good, right?
Yeah, no, I just was,
Thanks.
yeah. I'm gonna do the Aryan. Not the Aryan. Right. He made my toe.
Whatever feels good right now. I support. I'm on board.
Long time no see. I know. What's up? The what? She has her kindergarten Shabbat at Wise for school. I know she's not here. She'll be here next week though. I get it. Absolutely. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai, 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 yai lai lai. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We have a nice intimate crowd tonight, so I want to invite you to find someone that you either haven't seen in a while or perhaps someone you don't know well, and to introduce yourself briefly and to wish them a Shabbat shalom. Okay, we're going to come back together. Glad to see returning faces, glad to see some faces who are visiting us from college. And when I lived in Israel for a year, I would go to services every Friday night, and the rabbi would invite us to do what's called Hazarat HaShavua. It means a review of the week. And it's where we just use Shabbat or use this entrance into Shabbat as an opportunity to go back all the way to Havdalah or to last Sunday and to think about moments from each day, if you can remember, each day in the week, and to collect or to bring in all of the moments that brought you joy, maybe some surprises or unexpected connections, and then also just to notice or to hold the moments that you want to let go of, that as you enter into hopefully the expansiveness of Shabbat, something or someone or some encounter that you also want to release that's no longer serving you. So we're going to invite you just to take a moment, a minute or so, to do your own review of the week so that we can fully be present and enter into our Shabbat. Words of gathering, Hine Matov, are on page 10.
Hine matov u'manayim sheberachim kam yachad. 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 Share a poem to get our just everything settled and everything separated from what was into what is now. So any anxiety or fear or discomfort or whatever happened in this past week, just have an opportunity now to just let go for just this hour or even the whole day tomorrow, to just allow ourselves to have time for us, time to rest and really experience Shabbat. I had insomnia last night, so I went outside and stood barefoot in the Wyoming snow. It was so cold that the moonlight froze in my hair, like little strands of glowing cotton candy. That's exactly when I heard a gravelly voice from right behind me. It was the voice of fear. "You aren't ever going to be okay," Fear said to me in her trademark smoker's rasp. "Maybe," I replied, "but I'm still here, and I'm still fighting." "I hate how you use that word," Fear groaned. "Which word is that?" I asked. "Still," Fear said. "Oh." With that, the moon above us became a campfire, and the snow around my feet melted. My fear sunk into a puddle, and the once frozen moonlight in my hair ran down my face like fat, juicy baptismal tears. And it did, in fact, taste like cotton candy. And I smiled for the first time in a year, and I haven't stopped because I'm still here, still here. And so are you. Despite everything you've been asked to endure, you remain. All the fear, all the despair, all the setbacks couldn't stop you. You're still here. Isn't that amazing? Can't you taste the sweetness of new hope on your tongue? It's all such an adventure.
We join together in words of Yedid Nefesh in the middle of page 10. Heart's delight, source of mercy, draw your servant into your arms. I leap like a deer to stand in awe before you.
Yedid nefesh of harachaman, Meshoch avdecha el retzonecha, el retzonecha. Yarutz avdecha kemo ayar yishtachaveh el mul hadarecha. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, av harachaman. Meshoch avdecha el retzonecha, el retzonecha.
We arrive at the Baruch Hu, our call to worship prayer, which can be found on page 28. And I'll invite anyone who is able to please rise. And by that I mean we are on page 20. That was just an exercise. You can sit down now. You know, I was not skipping L'chadodi. L'chadodi.
She specifically requested this
This is
song,
my, okay, so now backstory is, first of all, that was a little effort in that we always have our religious school students stretch in order to get ready for the Baruch Hu, truly. So that was just your stretch, Sally, right? Don't you feel your heart is open now? Your body is prepared. And now we're first, before we do our call to worship the Baruch Hu, we first have L'chadodi, which we cannot skip, because L'chadodi greets Shabbat as we would at the celebration of two people in love. And who does not want to celebrate love on the Shabbat? So we're going to join together. This is a newer melody, one of our favorites. And just jump on in with us. We're on page 20.
L'chadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat mikabela. L'chadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat mikabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur Ishmianu el ha-meyuchad Adonai echad לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבור אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Bottom of 21, we rise and face the entrance.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
See, it's good, right? We now are on page 28 and continue standing for the Baruch Hu.
Ya la 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 Baruch Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam va'ed Ya la 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 Ya la 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 la.
Let's read together on the bottom of 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change. and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. We join together in these sacred words of Shema on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We are nearing our holiday of Passover, and on Passover we celebrate our people's redemption story, but we also celebrate not only Moses' leadership, but also the leadership of several female heroines who really help to put this story in motion. They're the ones that safeguard Moses when Pharaoh threatens his life and the life of all Israelite baby boys, and they're also the ones who ensure that the people's freedom is carried out. And as we sing Mi Chamocha, we are really marking the remarkable leadership of Miriam. She is the one who is Moses' protector, that when his mother Yocheved has the courage to place him in the very famous basket that goes down the Nile River, it's Miriam who watches over him until Pharaoh's daughter Batya pulls him from the Nile River and brings her, again, incredibly courageously into her home. And so as we were studying these texts in our women's Torah study class this past week, one of our wise LBT women, Lois Lippman, introduced me to this beautiful poem. It's called From Miriam, that I think really lifts up both Miriam's incredible leadership, but also this collaboration that we see take place among these women. It's called From Miriam. I hid by the river a young lioness, crouching, ready to jump, keeping myself still. And then she came, the princess dressed in her golden clothing. That day changed my life and the life of the princess. I was no longer simply Moses' sister, and she was no longer simply Pharaoh's daughter. We were God's daughters, an army of resistors with our weapons of love and faith. We seek to embody these resistance fighters with our Micha Mocha prayer. We are on page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, פוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי לי לי.
We move from this song of resistance, this song of freedom, into our prayer for comfort as we join together in words of Hashkivenu, asking God to shelter us in whatever kind of shelter we may need. It might be those who need a physical shelter to be safe from the elements. It might need someone who needs an emotional shelter to really safeguard them through whatever it is that they're struggling with. So we call to mind all of the Sukkot Shalom, that shelter of peace that each of us need, and all of us, and also the one that each of us can provide and offer to one another. These words are found on our supplemental page.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai, guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai, keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Join together in the Amidah on page 46. And again, I'll invite you to please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagadol hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, gomel chasadim tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, umevi geula livnei v'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue in silence through page 62. You can pray the words of the prayer book or take some time for your own quiet prayer and be seated when you are ready.
Oh, heart of mine, lost and find my home is sometimes near and sometimes far. It's always changing. Oh, heart of mine, take the time to feel the sadness. Love is always near. It seems they go together. The walls are coming down and down and down, and life is going round and round and round, and love it will be found and found and found. It's all inside of you. Oh, moon of mine, to see you shine is like as if to wish upon a star. I'm so glad to see you. Oh, moon of mine, the night is time for love and wonder spread across the sky. What would we do without you? The walls are coming down and down and down, and life is going round and round and round. Love it will be found and found and found. It's all inside of you. Oh, friend of mine, eyes that shine and help me feel that I am not alone. How can I ever thank you? Oh, friend of mine, space nor time will break the bond that holds my heart with yours. I'll always love you. The walls are coming down and down and down, and life it will be found and found and found, and love it will be found and found and found. It's all inside of you. All inside of you. All inside of you. All inside of you.
I have been thinking a lot about what makes something a sanctuary. Is it the physical space? Is it the attention to detail? Is it the community that inhabits that space? Or is it the interactions that take place within it? This week's Parsha, it is a double portion, Vayakel Pikudei. It offers us further insight into this question. It concludes the book of Exodus, as well as the Israelites' most treasured project, the building of the Mishkan, the sanctuary the Israelites constructed as a location to access God, fulfilling the commandment of God that we sang at the beginning of the service. Let them build me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. As we read this parsha, we discover every detail that goes into this construction, from the planks to the fasteners to the jewels to the dolphin skins. And through this meticulous description and the further commentaries, we learn quite a lot about what really signifies a worthy sanctuary for the divine, and also for us. Last week, our second graders took their annual journey through our synagogue to identify holy spaces, which would be an interesting practice for all of us if we went on a journey throughout the synagogue and sought to identify which or what spaces were holy to us. And they ended their experience, as you might imagine, in our LBT sanctuary, marveling at the many Torah scrolls that were residing in the ark and the unique stories of each of those scrolls. And then taking the scrolls out from the ark and opening up the text right under the Ner Tamid, the eternal light, and dwelling together on the Bima as a class in that sacred space. I imagine Bezalel, who is the architect of the biblical Mishkan, and consider just the sheer artistry and intention required to fashion a holy space. And then just a few hours later, I was confronted by another notion of sanctuary. As our temple community came together last Sunday afternoon to engage in the work of what we call our Home is Sacred campaign. It's an affordable housing campaign that we're doing alongside our interfaith partners. And it reminded me of a teaching from the Talmud, which suggests that a justice-seeking person cannot reside in a city without these 10 things. So a justice-seeking person cannot reside in a city without these 10 things. A court of justice, a charity fund, a synagogue, public baths, toilet facilities, a circumciser, a surgeon, a notary, a slaughterer, and number 10, an educator of children. These 10 items, the Talmud suggests, establish another sense of sanctuary, one that is practical in nature, as we need toilets and we need baths for sanitation, but it also values-based, as our tradition lifts up the role of educating children and ensuring justice and fairness through an independent court system or a charity fund to help folks who are in need. Sanctuaries then don't just have to be beautiful. They have to provide for the essential needs of a community. This text adds another element to this elusive but central word in our tradition. A sanctuary must not only be a holy place, as we learned from our second graders, it also must be a fair and a just dwelling place. But there's even more. As I read the medieval sage Rashbam's commentary on sanctuary, that it is a word that implies a place set aside for meeting, a word that implies a space that is set aside for meeting. I turned to one of my favorite books from the past few years. It's Priya Parker's The Art of Gathering. Rashbam and Parker, many generations apart, emphasize another component of sanctuary. It is a place of meeting, from Shiloh to Jerusalem, from the Hollywood Bowl to the LBT campus. Sanctuaries exist when people come together with a common purpose, with the intention of encounter. Parker reminds us that the most essential aspect of gathering is identifying this specific focused purpose. And whether we're bringing people together in prayer or for a dinner party, we can create sanctuary when we intentionally address a particular need to mark something like the end of the week or the loss of a loved one or the celebration of a new job, to witness the transition from being a child to an adolescent, as we do with our B'nai Mitzvah services, or to invent something new together. Could be a work meeting or a committee meeting that acts as a lab or a creative brainstorming session. According to Parker, a board meeting has the potential to be a sanctuary, a child's birthday party could be a sanctuary, and this gathering of souls tonight in our Beit Midrash could be a sanctuary when we arrive together in shared purpose. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs teaches that it's not what God does for us that transforms us. It is what we do for God. Exodus ends with human beings creating this Mishkan, this sanctuary, as a home for the divine. And we learn that God doesn't build this Mishkan, the Israelites do, together, with everyone from their community throwing in their time, their material resources, and most importantly, their hearts. And from this we learn the final element of a sanctuary. It must be holy, it must be just, it must be a space of shared purpose and encounter, and it must be a place in which people give from their hearts. God commands that the Mishkan must be constructed through gifts from everyone whose heart is moved. The text goes on to say that God commissions those who are skilled, but literally in the Hebrew, skilled is those with chacham lev, wisdom of the heart, and those whose heart was lifted. Builders of the sacred must be heart knowers, those who listen and lead not just from a place of intellect, but from the expansive place of an open heart. I'm inspired by the many sanctuaries that we have built here together, from the parking lot to the Gaga pit, to the outdoor chapel, to this very place where people come together to be seen and to be known, and really to see and to know others. Where in a women's Torah study class, people reveal their souls. Where in a teen class, students take off their armor and share the hard truths that they're grappling with. Where in a Friday night service, someone can fully express their grief without reservation. Where in a social justice gathering, someone could share their own financial struggles to afford housing. And where in most rooms here, people are willing to be vulnerable enough to offer what is really happening in their world, and curious enough to want to know the stories of others. Let them build me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. On this Shabbat, we pray that we all can access the sacred through holy, through just, through relational, and through heart-filled dwelling spaces. Shabbat shalom.
Part of being in a sanctuary or in a community is that we have the opportunity to bless those who are in need of healing, be it of body or of mind or of spirit. And so we extend that healing towards those in our lives who are in need of it, and maybe those who we don't even know need it, but just having that energy in the world might help them just a little bit. So I invite you, if you are thinking of somebody today, to share their names with us so that we can also take them into our hearts. Yes, Peachy. Take all of those names into our hearts as we join together in our Misha Berach. If you need the words, they are on page 253 in the middle of the page. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Aleinu can be found on 282, and again we rise.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו
words to prepare us for Mourner's Kaddish. These things I know, how the living go on living, and how the dead go on living with them, so that in a forest, even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks, and the rain seeps through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it, and in the spring, the rabbits find it and build their nest inside the dead tree, so that nothing is wasted in nature or in love. As we recite Kaddish this Shabbat, we especially remember Benjamin Bendet, Eliza Fromson Bental, Rosalind Berkson, Bert Bleckman, Nina Rose Bryce, Judy Brown, Shelton Davidson, Monique Friedman, Marilyn Garber, Bob Fettergreen, Selvin Gottlieb, Spencer Michael Greenwood, Lillian Guide, Rachel Guth, Howard S. Gutlin, Sam C. Hamburg, Henry George Hilson, Mary Kesden, Emmanuel Lassers, David Lepec, Robert Lowe, Walter Mirisch, Seal Moss, Maria Panetta, Stanley Saperstein, Beatrice Schneider, Rebecca Shehan, Doris Shaw, Jorge Singer, Herman Stein, Ian Stewart, William Victor Trachtenberg, Jean H. Yerman, and Ann Zinner. If there are other names that we should add, or if I mispronounce the name of your loved one, I invite you to please share their name at this time. We also think about all of the innocent victims of violence and those who have perished protecting our country and our people's ancient home. We rise together as a community to recite Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach herutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam ulamei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya, V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru,
Amen.
Amen. Zichronam levracha, may each and every one of their memories truly be for a blessing.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom. One quick announcement. First, we look forward to seeing so many of you tomorrow at the Women's Retreat. And if you're yearning for another retreat, don't worry. The Community Retreat is April 21st through 23rd.
Yeah, it is.
It is at Brandes Bardeen, which is a magical place. And perhaps we may all build a sanctuary together in that space. So if you are yearning to join us, please sign up April 21st through 23rd. There are 2 weeks left to register. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.